Welcome to the Best of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, a weekly segment dedicated to putting the focus on the amazing things and the amazing people behind them in Beaver County. The Best of Beaver County is sponsored by and content is provided by St. Barnabas. The show airs every Thursday from 11 to 11:30 on WBBP, WMBA, 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. Now, with no further ado, let's welcome host Mike Romigh to introduce today's program.
Good morning and welcome to the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. A trusted name in healthcare, St. Barnabas Health System has grown to become a visionary leader in providing quality care. Founded in 1900 as a charitable nursing home, St. Barnabas now spans across 3 campuses in Allegheny, Butler, and Beaver counties. Offering a full spectrum of retirement living, award-winning care, skilled nursing services, short-term care, and comprehensive rehabilitative support, including memory care programs, home and hospice care services, the St. Barnabas Health System continues to be focused on the needs of our residents and the community. At the core of this faith-based mission, St. Barnabas is an all-encompassing nonprofit organization that is focused on its founder's reminder that God is able. Each day, the St. Barnabas Health System provides compassionate care as it continues to help the health, education, and social needs of others while providing care with dignity, grace, and respect. Our radio show will focus on introducing you to successful community people who are making a positive impact in the greater Pittsburgh area. Here to talk with us this morning is Lynette Fair, Geneva School of Nursing Department Chair and Professor, who along with student nurses Sarah Johnson and Nate Pudliner will tell us about the program at Geneva. Good morning and welcome to you all.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in. Can you tell us, Lynette, we'll start with you as the professor. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the program.
I'm Lynette Fair. I came to Geneva in 2019. I live in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, which is another college town, but I live off the side of Moraine Park, so it's beautiful that time of year. The nursing program that we have at Geneva is a collaboration with the Community College of Beaver County. Students who come to Geneva are able to finish their clinical coursework with the Community College and graduate with their bachelor degree in nursing at Geneva.
Okay. And what brought you to Geneva?
Well, I actually, growing up, I had family in this area. I used to drive by Geneva all the time. But it was the opportunity to be there and to and help educate new nurses was what brought me to the Geneva College campus.
And you are a nurse by profession?
Yes.
Okay, very good. What's the difference between being on the floor and being active in a nursing facility as opposed to now teaching these young students?
It's a lot different. It's a lot different. In the acute care world, where you're taking care of patients, obviously you're making an impact, personally, to patients and their families. But being in nursing education, I get to help mentor new nurses in their career and help them develop professionally, and I love that role.
Okay, very good. And now our next guest is from Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
Yes.
Sarah, welcome to the show. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your education, and coming cross country to go to school at Geneva?
Yeah, so I'm a senior at Geneva, and I decided to go to a smaller school because I wanted to play softball and get a nursing degree. And so I thought Pennsylvania, I could find a smaller school, which Geneva reached out to me, so.
They reached out to you, so you
Yes.
must have been one heck of a softball player.
I do enjoy it.
Is that right?
Yes.
You told me earlier that you've been playing since you were 6.
I was, yes.
And you play center field for the Geneva softball team.
I do, yep.
You enjoy that? Has your college experience at Geneva lived up to your expectations?
It has. It's been great being able to balance both softball and nursing. That's something that's kind of hard to find. They're very supportive.
Okay, so what made you choose center field?
I've always been an outfielder, but my coach kind of put me out there just because of my speed. So
you can run down the long balls, and you've got a good enough arm to get it back into the infielders.
Yep.
No rotator cuff surgery.
No, no, thank you.
And you drive cross country to get here.
I do. I've done it quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's about 20 to 24 hours.
What's the hardest part of that?
Probably.
Staying awake?
Yeah, the long road of nothing around you.
All right, very
Yes.
good. Well, welcome to the show. Nate is from Johnstown, Pennsylvania, so not as far as Sarah is, but still a drive on the turnpike to get here. Obviously, you live on campus because it's not a commute that you could make, right?
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your life in Johnstown and how it brought you to Geneva College.
So I went to a small school in Johnstown, and so I wanted to go to a smaller school when I got to college. So I picked Geneva because the class sizes are smaller, and it's more one-to-one. You always have somebody to go to talk to, and sometimes you don't have that with the bigger campuses and bigger institutions.
Okay. Is this your first time meeting Sarah?
No.
You play catch down at McLean, anything like that?
No.
She throws too hard?
She throws too hard, yeah.
I don't think so. Tell us about how your interest, the interest in nursing came to you.
Yeah, so I always wanted to do something in the medical field. I was first business marketing. I played football in the fall, and then I stepped away from football my freshman year. And so I switched to nursing, and because my gram was in and out of the hospital when I was younger, and she had some good nurses that I looked up to, and so that's why I wanted to go into nursing.
It's a tough field. I have several nurses in my family, and even though they say they could never do this for a living, I don't know how in the world they ever do the nursing profession, because, I mean, it's just like you're on for your entire 8 or 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to perhaps getting a job in the local community, some of the local hospitals, or are you going to go back to Johnstown?
I actually have a job at West Penn Hospital down in the city.
Okay.
And I work full-time there while finishing my BSN here.
Wow.
in Geneva.
And so you'll be done soon here?
Yes, I finished this fall.
Oh, okay, very good.
semester.
And the trip from downtown to Johnstown isn't as far as from Beaver County?
No, it's like about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. Sarah, tell us about how you got interested in nursing.
I have had my cousin, she's a nurse, and my brother's a paramedic, so there's always been some sort of medical field in my family, and I just wanted a degree that I could help people, and I think nursing is a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you graduate, which you will soon, do you, your aspirations to go into nursing in a hospital or paramedics, or do you want to fly in a helicopter?
I'm gonna start in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm planning to do somewhere in the emergency room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Linda, tell us about some of the students that go to Geneva and are interested in the nursing program. Is there a process in which you put them through? Are there questions to make sure that they're ready? Because you've been on site doing the job, so you know what they're going to face once they get into that arena. Do you have to try and find out whether you think they're suited mentally for that?
Not necessarily that. We start with the academics and what they've achieved in high school. And when they get to Geneva, they are taking some pretty hard courses. They're taking their anatomy and physiology and their chemistry classes and some Bible courses in humanities. But they also take a clinical entrance exam for the clinical courses, and that also kind of challenges them academically. And once they're placed into clinicals, then we see whether or not they're going to do well and acclimate to the clinical environment.
Mm-hmm. When you go in and doing your clinicals, do they put you through the test? I mean, do they say, this is high pressure, this is what you're going to do? You're going to have so many patients, you're going to be running, you're going to be doing this and that. Is that all part of the education process?
Yes. So I think CCVC, they do a great job with training and laying the foundation of what it is to be a nurse. And ever since I started working a little over 4 months ago. I think that I've learned a lot from school, and they prepared me well to be a good nurse on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And Sarah, what do you think?
I agree with what Nate said. I think CCBC really prepares us with our skills, and they don't just throw us in there and expect us to do everything. They're there the whole step of the way, and when they think you're ready, they let you take care of patients by yourself with the nurse behind you, but guiding you.
Has there ever been a point in your clinicals where you went to Geneva and Lynette talked about Bible study and things like that? Have you ever been to a point where you've had to send a little prayer up to help you get through that day, or has there been a period where you're kind of getting emotional about it, but you've got to brush back, blink back those emotions, and stay with the job?
I think it's definitely it can be stressful at times for sure, and with Geneva, I think with all our different classes that we've had, Professor Fair, she's really helped us figure out, okay, how we can get through things, and so yeah, we have.
Mm-hmm. Same with you?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, very good. Now, over the past couple of years, there's been an uptick in ways to receive an early education, or at least meet prerequisite requirements prior to enrolling in a nursing program. Can you talk about some of those early initiatives?
We've had students that have done early college courses through Geneva, and they've taken some general education classes. Portage Learning, they do what they call nursing ABC classes that allow students to fulfill some of the prerequisite classes before they apply for clinicals. And we've had students that use some of those courses as well. We've also had academy students from Community College of Beaver County who did courses in high school, and then when they got to Geneva, they actually jumped straight into clinicals and bypassed their freshman prerequisites. So we've had them use several different ways to help early college.
Talk about these phases, because for the longest time, since the late 60s actually, Community College in Beaver County has been the place where nursing students would go to get an LPN degree or a registered nurse certificate. And now with Portage Learning and Geneva and that collaboration, will students graduate with a BA from Geneva in the nursing program?
Well, for the most part, the collaboration with the community college, they actually receive their associate degree from CCBC because they are dual enrolled. So they are getting 2 degrees at the same time. So as they're working for their associate degree, they're also working for their bachelor's degree. And then they go and take their nursing licensure exam, so they become an RN. And then their last 2 semesters, they get what's a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, a BSN, from Geneva. So they end up with 2 degrees and a nursing license by the time they're done.
Very good. And that's been very well taken or well received from college students all over?
Yes, from everybody that has come to the program. What's nice is our relationship with CCBC. If their students who graduate with an associate degree that are interested in taking some bachelor degree courses, that they may reach out to us and see how they can do that. It's been a very beneficial partnership between the two organizations. It's been really great.
Very good. And we are talking with Lynette Fair. She is the Geneva School of Nursing Department Chair and Professor, and students Sarah Johnson and Nate Pudliner, who are joining us. They're senior nurses at the Geneva College, and we're happy to have them here. We're going to talk more about it and how perhaps you can get involved in your educational pursuit in nursing through Geneva College, Portage Learning, and so many other avenues. And that will continue as we continue with the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
Of the many things that make St. Barnabas Health System apart from the ordinary is an appreciation for their employees, an act that does not go unnoticed. Let's learn more about what this means from one of their employees.
Hi, Hi, my name's Susan Elleteri. I'm a registered nurse at St. Barnabas. Our team is responsible for the excellent care of our residents. Tending to their specific needs is very important. We pursue compassionate care, hard work, and kindness, and it is an extremely rewarding career, and I'm very grateful to have nursing as a career. It's extremely rewarding. We can acknowledge the goodness in our life, and I do believe that.
Find out about the exceptional career opportunities St. Barnabas has to offer by visiting stbarnabashealthsystem.com/careers for more information, or by calling 724-444-JOBS. That's 724-444-5627. Find out why St. Barnabas is apart from the ordinary.
Now entering our 75th year of serving Beaver County. You're listening to 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA. Part of the St. Barnabas Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. I'm Mike Romigh, and we continue our conversation with Lynette Fair, Nursing Department Chair and Educator, along with student nurses Nate Hudliner and Sarah Johnson. Now, before we went to the break, we were talking, Lynette, about some of the educational pursuits and avenues in which the students going to Geneva can take advantage of. Before joining Geneva as the Nursing Department Chair, you had an accomplished tenure. Are you a tenor, or are you before in nursing and nursing
Alto.
administration alto, in a few different healthcare settings? Talk about that, Will.
I actually started my career out in critical care and quickly moved to the emergency department. And I worked at a community hospital emergency department close to home. And I did that for 10 years. And at that point, somebody asked, do you intend to go on for your, I did an associate degree, a bachelor's or a graduate degree. And so I did. I started to pursue that. During that time, I became manager of the emergency department and started overseeing my coworkers, which was an experience and leadership there. And then once I obtained my graduate degree, I moved into quality and safety.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to throw this out there. Are you a type A personality?
My husband calls me Little Miss 4.0.
I'm thinking, you went critical care to the emergency room, so you must like the action and the fast-paced environment.
Change, adversity, constant, just something different. The emergency department, some people think, especially at a community emergency department, they think, well, you don't see anything so serious. But, where people can't get to other hospitals, they come to you first. So we saw a lot of serious injuries and trauma in our emergency department. You can see very simple things, and then you have cardiac, and then but I got pediatric experience doing it in the, being in the emergency department. So it was a wide variety.
Yeah, and for a 26-year-old, you don't look like you've aged a minute doing all that hard work, right? Yeah. And so, have you had any patient experiences or experiences that you've had with patients, aside from the people in the waiting room thinking that, they should be next in line? What is that like when dealing with patients?
It's a tough environment. Emergency is a tough environment, but you're seeing people, obviously they think it's an emergency because they're coming to you, and some of the hardest times of their lives, and connecting with them versus just moving patients through is something that I always strived to do. And there was a lot of opportunities to connect with patients and their families when things were not going well, or people were, at the end stage of life. Those times are really hard, but it was an opportunity to just be there for patients and their families.
Mm-hmm. You were acknowledged as well, or recognized for your work in dealing with trauma patients. Can you talk about that?
During that time frame, our community hospital, we actually saw a lot of trauma. We were between two major highways, but one of our largest trauma populations were elderly, because we had 9 nursing homes in the area. Mm-hmm. And so there was always a lot of trauma from falls from the elderly, and pursuing the trauma designation, I started researching the low velocity trauma to senior citizens when they fall from a standing position. If you and I fall from standing up, we may get bruised. We may be sore for several days, depending on what we fall on, that kind of thing. But because of the natural aging process, falling from standing up from an older person, they have broken bones and bleeding and whatnot. They can't protect themselves. And so I actually started doing research on low velocity trauma for geriatrics and developed some education. And I was later on able to write about those differences for geriatrics versus what we would call younger adults. And I had the opportunity to present that information at 2 conferences with the Trauma Foundation and the Emergency Nurses Association.
So a bump on the head for someone in your age group, I won't include myself there, would just be a bump on the head, maybe a bruise, but a bump on the head for an elderly patient could be fatal.
Yes.
A broken hip could lead a downward trajectory to more health problems in the future.
Yes. Yeah.
And tell us about your writings.
So I had the opportunity to write and educate from that research. I had a great mentor, a dear mentor from the Emergency Nurses Association, Nancy Donatelli, who gave me the opportunity to write in her column under geriatrics in the Emergency Nursing Journal. And it was a fabulous opportunity to share that education. And she actually later incorporated that education in the Trauma Nurse Core Curriculum Training Manual for new nurses.
And that's been beneficial to new nurses ever since?
I would hope so. Understanding that things are different, that we don't just take it for granted. We just fell from standing up and nothing is wrong, that we should always view the elderly as unprotected and in a different frame of mind. I would hope that was beneficial.
What is your passion? I mean, what motivates you from being in the wards to writing journals about the profession and certain aspects of it, and now to teach?
I think for me, what motivates me is seeing others grow from it. I love to see that. You will be talking to them about their capstone projects. I love mentoring improvement projects, looking at patient care, improving patient care, helping nurses find their connection with the care delivery that they will be doing in their direct patient care. And it's very rewarding to see others grow and join the profession.
And I'm old enough to remember hokey videos about accidents, car accidents, and these things they used to show us in school. These real life examples, trauma real life examples, do they help in the educational process? Is this, like real life? They're not going to say, yeah, that's not going to happen.
You will not believe ways that people can harm themselves. When you work in an emergency room, you will see every different way that people can hurt themselves, each story is unique.
Can you, Nate, Sarah, can you talk about some of these experiences, some of these examples that are shared with you in terms of what you're learning on the job and the classroom?
I think over the span of our 2 years at CCBC, we've been able to see a whole span of different areas, whether that's critical care or the emergency room or even like labor and delivery. And I think getting to see each of those areas, you're able to see all the different types of nurses and how they function. And I think it's been really rewarding.
Nate, do you have any teaching moments that you could share with us? Not necessarily.
No, not
It's hard to pull
necessarily.
things right off the top. Of the
Yeah.
We're pressed like that. There's a lot of stress involved in this job. That's why my hair's gray. But in terms of the teaching moments, Lynette, what kind of questions do you get back from the students because you were there? I mean, it's not like you just came out of school and decided you're going to start teaching. You have the experience, the real life experience. How do those teaching moments help your students?
The part that I contribute, they get a lot of guidance from their clinical instructors at community college on, the practice questions, what I try to contribute is giving it a higher vantage point of what are students, what are we as leaders, and how are you going to lead when you get into the environment? Because nurses, we do a lot of tasks all day long, but we also need to be able to lead our patient, lead our coworkers, lead improvements to our work environment and for patient care. And I think that's what I attempt to challenge students, is to look at a higher level of who are you going to be as a leader once you get into your nursing career.
Because nurses are the front line when it comes to healthcare and hospitals. You have doctors and you have to confer with the doctors, but you're there with patient care. You're taking care of the patients on a moment-to-moment basis. So that's important to be able to handle those tasks. And the emotional end of it, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. And how do you teach students to be able to keep that emotion in check, to stay level-headed when you're faced with a trauma or an emergency with family members around?
Right. Well, I think with Geneva, I believe we do a good job with realizing that we are a whole person, that we take everything with us into the job, every aspect of, who we are, how we manage stress, what we rely on as far as our support or even spiritual support. We take that in with us. We don't just leave that at the door, and I don't think nurses leave that at the door. We tend to wait until after all of that is over, and then we manage those emotions.
Decompress.
We decompress later, and there's all different ways that nursing
Sure.
students decompress. Some can be positive, some can be negative, but self-care is really important.
A lot of stress
Yes.
involved with it. You mentioned something earlier, and I want to get into that capstone project. What is it?
The students, what Nate and Sarah are doing right now, they're actually at a healthcare site, and they are looking at the practice that is happening in the site and developing an evidence-based project proposal for improvements.
Okay. Very good. And how's that going?
It's going good. Right now we're in the early stages of developing a project, but I think Sarah and I both have set a project in place based off of data and other things that we've collected from our respected sites.
And as we go along, those boards are sneaking up on you. All this education, all the stress of being on the job and all that stuff is one thing, but then you're faced with the boards at the end of it all in order to get your license. Are you ready?
They've actually taken they're actually nurses.
So you guys can just go to work then.
They are working.
Yeah.
So for students to be able to take their capstone course, they have to have their nursing exam taken already. So they're in their last phases. We have seniors right now that are in the midst of taking their nursing licensure, but they've already passed that hurdle. And so they're one step ahead of everybody else.
All right, very good. They've done their homework, they've got it all together, and they're out in the workforce, and they're with Geneva College, graduates of Geneva College, real soon. Lynette, thank you. Sarah and Nate, thank you for being with us today. And people can find more information by going to your website at genevacollege.org. All right, very good. And thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Romigh. This is the Best of Beaver County radio show on the St. Barnabas Radio Network. Be safe.
It's been stated before that working at St. Barnabas is compassionate work with excellent career opportunities. In addition, we've heard when you enjoy what you're doing every day, it's not work. But don't take my word for it. Let's listen in to what motivates their employees.
Hello, my name is Emily Tahansky, and I love to be able to help others and knowing that I make a difference in a person's life.
Find out about the exceptional career opportunities St. Barnabas has to offer by visiting stbarnabashealthsystem.com/careers for more information, or by calling 724-444-JOBS. That's 724-444-5627. Find out why St. Barnabas is apart from the ordinary.
Thank you for listening to the Best of Beaver County. St. Barnabas is pleased to have provided content and sponsorship for the program. Tune in this Sunday at 11:30 for an encore presentation of today's program on Beaver County Radio. And next Thursday at 11 for another edition of the Best of Beaver County on WBVP, WMBA, and 99.3 FM.